If you're watching this video, then you probably watched my last two videos regarding Mother Love Bone songs, and you probably know what I'm up to. But if you don't, welcome. Once a week for as long as it takes, we are chronicling how to play all of the Mother Love Bone catalog. Today we're on to Half-Ass Monkey Boy, track number 3 of the Shine EP. Thank you for joining me. Let's go, whichever direction we go. Just to orient you, this whole song is about the D minor pentatonic scale, and the high guitar part of the two, there's a high one and a low one, uses mostly all, I think, position 1 of the D minor pentatonic scale, so you probably already know it. But if you don't, start on the 10th fret of the E string, that's D, and we're going 10, 13, 10, 12, 3 times, and back to 10, 13 for the last 2. That's the D minor pentatonic scale. Now you at least know kind of what we're working with. And the first thing we need to do for the beginning of the song is start on the A string 10th fret out of that D minor pentatonic scale, and we're going 10, 11. Now that's not in the pentatonic scale, more on that later, but 10, 11 followed by a B-double-E-Y-double-O-M Bium. And right after your Bium, you do the opposite, a Mu-Yib. So 10, 11, and then we're going to get into the main riff. I just really like that little part, so I wanted to spend a little time on that. That's the first thing. And then we're getting into the riff. And here it is. A string, 10, 11, 12, and then we're going to smash down an A shape on the 10th fret, so D, G, B, 10. Of course, Biuming that all the way. Then we're going to bounce from G and B10 to D12 twice. And that's our high register main riff. And there's also a low register main riff. If you prefer, E string 3rd fret, 4, 5, up to D3. And then you've got a choice here. You could do D3 to open, to A3, to D open. That's fine. Those are the notes. I don't prefer to have an open string ringing out, so I'm going to go D3, hammer on to A5, 3, 5. And that way you can give it some bendy wiggles if you like. That is the low register main riff. Now, you may have noticed that this and this are exactly the same notes in 2 different octaves, so that's the note that doesn't belong, and that's the note that doesn't belong. That note makes this a D minor blues scale, and since I said that, that means it's time for another episode of
What's the Lesson Here? Starring Miss Poopadoo.
Thank you for having me back so soon. It's great to see you all. The D minor blues scale, the anything blues scale, utilizes the blue notes. Now, the blue notes are the flat 5th relative to the minor scale, but don't worry about that. We're just going to add one note in 2 different octaves to our normal shape 1 of the pentatonic scale. Here's the normal D minor pentatonic scale. And here is the D minor blues scale. You'll notice it has 2 notes added to it. It's the same note twice, one higher, one lower. Either way, it's a G sharp note in this instance. And you probably noticed that that added a whole ton of color and flavor, just that one note, to the pentatonic scale. So quick way to spice up your pentatonic noodlings, add the blue note. Back to you, Ryan, my kindergarten teacher. Okay, at 18 seconds, we get into this hammer-on-y chicka-chicka thing. And what it's going to be is grab that A shape on the 10th fret, give it a strum, and hammer up to 12, followed by a chicka. I'm just going to flop my fingers over the strings so nothing rings out and give it a down-up. Hammer, chicka, and then pull off from 12 to 10 chicka. You do that twice. And then it's that A shape on 10 twice. And then it's a little beefier, so I'm going to grab A, D, and G in the 12th fret and give it one of those babies. Here we go. That's the hammer-on-y chicka-chicka section. Finally, we've made it to the verse, and it's just like the main riff, the low section, but there's the in-between spots where there was nothing gets filled in. So, we're going to start on the E string, 3, 4, our blue note, 5, up to D3, and in the in-betweens, you can either use the open D string, or you can use the A string 5th fret, my choice, and then you do the thing where you had a choice, or so, or the open D string, and then right before you do it again, there's an open E string. Sounds like on the recording like it's the open D string, not the A string 5th fret. I prefer the A string 5th fret. You do whatever you prefer. One of the things that makes this song a little tricky to keep track of where you are is that a few of the riffs are awfully similar, but here's the extended riff, I'm calling it. You'll recognize it because it sounds like the main riff, but it just lasts a little longer. It has a few more notes in it. The high register is going to be our blue note walk-up, right? But then we're going to do the same thing on the D string, and then it's going to be our thing. Now, that seems a little chunkier to me sometimes, so maybe the whole A shape plus more strings, and sometimes it ends on a whole big D major bar chord now. So, it's a little bit of a switcheroo to get to that D, but it certainly happens sometimes. So if you like it, do it sometimes. That's the high register of the extended riff, we're calling it. You're also going to encounter more of these sections. And there's also a bendy guy in those sections too. My official guess is bendy guy is Stone. What you do is grab D5, give it a little bend, and then stop the noise at the top of the bend because we want to hear 5 to 3 as a pull-off. And the second time, it's that same bend on 5, but it's 3 to open, followed by the or, of course, whichever way you wanted to do that. That's the bendy guy. There's a dramatic pause at 1 minute and 48 seconds, and for the high register, it's going to be the first 2 notes of our blue note riff, right? And then landing on the first note. The low guy continues on. He goes 3, 4, 3, and then 4, 1, and then does another 3, 4, 1. And then we're into what I'm calling the breakdown. Okay, this is weird. High register. We're going to do this in 3 sections. A string 10, 11, 12. D string 10, 12. Kind of choppy like that. And then D string 10, 11. And then we're going to make the A shape on the 13th fret. So like this. That's section 1 from the high register. Section 2 starts like things have been starting lately. It's 10, 11, 12 on the A string. D string 10, 11, 10. Bending the 12th fret. Back to 12 normal. 11, 10, A, 12, 11. Section 2. Section last begins the same way, followed by 10, 12 on the D string with one of those babies, and then on the D string we're going 10, 11, 12, 13, A shape on the 13th fret. So, and then it does just like the beginning and goes back into the main riff just like we did at the very beginning. So really cool that they added this thing back in as a theme towards the end. Okay, now the low guy. He's a little easier. Okay, of course, the low guy in the breakdown. Is anyone still watching this video? I'm so glad I'm doing this. Even if there's only 3 people watching, total at this point in the video. Okay, check it out. 3, 4, 5, 3. Until you fall off the universe there. And then you play the D string 3rd fret. So, Then 3, 4, 5 again. But we're gonna hit the creepy, what note is that? G sharp note. That's our blue note on the D string 6th fret. The second chunk for the low guy is really easy. It's just the first fret of the E string. The third one is almost like the first one, but instead of at the end, it's going to be A string 5, 6 to that blue note D6. So is chunk 3 of low guy. And now you know the whole breakdown. It means you now know everything you need to know to play Half-Ass Monkey Boy by Mother Love Bone. I actually really enjoy this song, and if you think a playthrough would help your learning process, you're going to find me suffer through that on my Patreon page, so check that out if you think it would help, and if you'd like to. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that was fun and helpful, and I will see you next time with more stuff. Goodbye.